While Elon is busy with the Twitter deal, Tesla is under some serious trouble. So, where exactly is the stock headed? Sit tight as we go through recent news as well as my chart analysis and price prediction. But before we do that, subscribe to our channel Stocks 101 for regular stock market updates. First up, the company is under investigation by the Department of Justice as well as the Securities and Exchange Commission for a problem with the advertising. As stated by the authorities, Tesla has made misleading comments and claims about their vehicle's autopilot features. Another issue to note is that the automaker will recall 24,000 Model 3 cars made between 2017 and 2022, citing a seatbelt issue. The repairs, of course, will be done free of cost, and the recalls will be done before 20th December this year. Talking about the Twitter deal, Elon has already gone through with the deal and he has not sold any Tesla shares for it. This is a good news as the stock, which has fallen by 25% in the past 3 months, now no longer has a threat hanging at their head. With all that in mind, let's analyze the charts. As you guys can see right here, we're now in the 1-day chart for Tesla, and right now, if we look at today's candle, we've already fallen from a price of the opening, of course, at 225 to a price of $220 somewhat, causing a 2.6% fall, right? It resulted in a 2.6% fall. If we look at this level of 27th October, of course, we did get as high as 233, but we got resisted from the $235 resistance, of course. This was the 235 high that we made over here. And if you ask me where the trend is headed, now there are two things, right? The first possibility that most people are seeing is that we did not make a lower high. Let me get the pen tool real quick. We made a lower high over here, right? But we did not make a lower high over here. So this, most people are speculating that we'll probably get to into a bull run from over here. We might get a reversal, but hear me out, it probably won't happen in my opinion, because as you guys can see, even though we did not make much of a higher low, or rather, I'm sorry, much of a lower high, we did make a lot of lower lows, right? Of course, after here we made a lower low over here and over here as well. So in my opinion, we're probably headed for another lower low, right? The stock is still in a bearish momentum. Of course, we did fall from a level over here at 312, 315 pretty much in September to a level of the current, price, of course, falling by over 30%, which of course is a massive fall. Now, does this mean that the stock is a sell? Not exactly, right? There are a few ways you can go about this. If you're a trader, of course, you can buy options of the short calls, right? You can buy put options, you could sell call options, but of course, on the other hand, if you're a long-term holder, it's a good price to buy, in my opinion, right? There will be a better price when it falls back into the $200 range. It might get back into the 182 range that we already discussed in our previous videos. I've been stressing at this range a lot, saying that this probably would be the bottom that the Tesla stock will hit before going up. This range was also reiterated upon by Bank of America analysts, so this might just turn true. As you guys can see, we are already down from 221 to 219.4, but these are intraday movements, so it doesn't really matter. We'll analyze them in the 5-minute chart. But for now, we can see that on the short term, we're holding a support around 218.6 and a resistance around first 230, of course, psychological, and 233.77 was a high, so we'll have to see, right? We already made a top over here around 234. So 234 was a good resistance, and well, nothing like a good resistance, but over here 227.5 we got resisted over here as well. So I'm assuming that the next candle will have a resistance around 224, right? Considering these factors, of course, it might just be around 226 as well, but we'll have to see about that, right? So if we talk about other perspectives, if we fall below the $218.6 support today, we will get this as a resistance challenge, right? But looking at the long-term chart as well, there is a specific pattern going on that I want to show you guys. We might just be in for a reverse head and shoulder. So over here, if we use this as the baseline, we can see that we might have made a shoulder over here, right? The first shoulder, and then a head over here, right? And now we might be in for a second shoulder. And after that, if we still get resisted over here, the stock, we probably won't get resisted again. We'll probably get back into this range of somewhere around here, 250. but we'll get a massive pullback from this range, in my opinion, which should get the stock back into the $182 range, and that is the major support, right? I hardly believe that it would get broken, right? It should probably strong, stand strong, and it'll probably help the stock rebound to a better price. But of course, in my opinion, Tesla is the best buy when it's under $200. So, right now is a good time as well if you're doing DCA. But if you're looking to just go all in, I'd probably wait if I were you. Of course, not financial advice, but with that being said, let's quickly head on into the 1 hour chart to analyze some swing trades. So now that we're in the 1 hour chart, we can see that this candle is falling yet again to a price of $218.2 now, which I already told you it broke the 218.6 support. So let me mark that again for you. 218.6 pretty much, right? It broke that back to 218. Now we'll probably fall below 218 as well. So the next support stands somewhere around 214, I guess. 215 would be a psychological support as well while we're at it, but 214 is where the real support will be. Right back to 219.54. Of course, it had to get a pullback on the upper side, a breather. But if we talk about the resistance levels as well, right, we do have a resistance around over here at 223. We can see that we got resisted a lot of times over there. We have another resistance around, or rather, this is a support. I'm sorry for that, around this range at 206 that we already discussed in our previous videos, right? We have another support around the price of pretty much 209.6, or rather just the 209 $210 range. But talking about the current candle, of course, if we fall below 218.15, our next resort is straight up $215. So in my opinion, the stock will probably go down all the way over here around $215, and we might just end the day below $218. So this is my prediction for the day, right? We'll probably end it under $215, or I'm sorry for that, under $218. We might end it around $215, right? But anyways, it will be under $218 in my opinion. If we talk about, higher levels, the resistance levels, we can see that we have a resistance around 230, which is quite expected. We have a strong resistance around 227.5, or rather just, and we also have a strong resistance over here at 226.3, and we have a good support as well over here around pretty much just $224, right? So with that, I believe that the 1 hour chart is complete. There's nothing left to analyze. So let's quickly jump on into the 5 minute chart. So now that we're in the 5 minute chart, right off the bat, this thing caught my attention over here, right? We tried to go up, but we got squeezed into this range. We were already making higher lows, but we did make a lower high at the end that caused this massive pullback, I would call it, right? So, of course, after this pullback, it was a continuation of a bear run. We did get somewhat of a pin bar candle, or rather a insider candle, which was red. It indicated that we might be in for some big red volume, some big selling volume. And now we might be in for a pin bar candle on the downside. Once we make that, followed by a red pin bar, or just a normal red candle, that would be the beginning of a massive bear run, right? But of course, if we don't make that, there are two scenarios that could help the stock recover on the intraday basis. If we get a green, well, let me clear out all of these drawings first. If we get a green engulfing candle, meaning if we get a candle over here, this candle, and it gets a body that is bigger than this candle over here on the green part, on the upper part, of course, then it might be a bullish scenario. But of course, as I already told you, it's bearish right now. But if we talk about some significant levels over here on the 5 minute chart too, we can see that we made a double top somewhere around 22, or rather 222.5, and we have another resistance around 221.2. So we might just be in for the negative pin bar candle. We'll see how that turns out. But before we talk about that, or rather while that happens, we can see that over here we've been in somewhat of a volatile beginning and then a rather sideways mid-market, after which, of course, we get, if you look at the closing, of course, the closing was rather less volatile too. So that's how the Tesla stock is moving nowadays. We can see that, of course, over here, we did get a good sell-off after hitting a resistance around 230. So let me quickly get the horizontal line. And of course, we were being supported over here by a level of 227.75. If we talk about support levels over here, we can see that we got supported. We made a double bottom pretty much at 224, which is quite reasonable. 224 is a good support, but now, as you guys can see, $216 is here. We've already broken the $218 support, and the next support lies over here around 213, as I already told you in the previous part of this video. And of course, 215 would be a psychological level as well, but I doubt that it would be able to stand, right? Because as you guys can see, we've just made a massive candle to the downside, and it's pretty much a pin bar now. If this candle, if this candle right here, it's just, 2 minutes are remaining for this to end. If this is followed by another red candle, that would be a bad sign, right? Then we might just break the $215 level as well. Once we break that, of course, 213, we can't break that today. So 213 is a strong support. But of course, if we get a green candle after this, we might just get supported around 215 and take a U-turn. But that does not seem to be the case. We're heading full on into the selling pressure. But coming back to the support levels, right? 213 after that, of course, a little below $210, around 29, 209.7 would be a support as well. If we talk intraday, of course, at the current chart, right? There are a few levels that you should be wary of. Of course, 218.6 is one of them. We already talked about it. But $220, good psychological level, and $216 usually would act as a psychological barrier as well, right? 218, we already talked about it. 217, it doesn't have that much significance, right? So you shouldn't probably fear the $217 range, but you can mark all of these levels on your own chart and look out for them while you're trading intraday. But remember that this definitely was not financial advice. You should always do your own research before you trade, but if, however, you enjoyed my analysis, be sure to hit the like button. If you did not enjoy it, be sure to hit the dislike button. You can subscribe to our channel, Stocks 101, for more such videos. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one.